Welcome everyone to this explainer. Today, we are unraveling a genuinely fascinating medical detective story. We're going to look at how everyday foods, stuff you probably have sitting in your pantry or your fridge right now, are quietly accelerating our cellular aging. Seriously, get ready to completely rethink what happens to your food when you cook it, and more importantly, how your body reacts to it at a microscopic level. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever stopped to wonder if your absolute favorite comfort food is, secretly acting as a cellular villain? Is that innocent-looking afternoon snack quietly aging you from the inside out? Well, that is exactly the vital question we're answering today as we explore the hidden and honestly pretty wild chemistry of what we eat. To really wrap our heads around this process, Dr. Nagumo provides us with this brilliant visual metaphor based on just everyday cooking. Imagine you're cooking some meat in a frying pan, right? You get distracted by a phone call and you accidentally burn it to a crisp. You probably don't need to panic. You can just grab a paper towel, wipe away the animal grease, and the pan is generally totally fine. But imagine you burn carbohydrates like rice or potatoes in a pot. That stubborn, charred crust is practically impossible to remove. You can scrub all day long, but you've essentially ruined the pot forever. Well, that exact same difference happens in how our bodies process different types of foods. And that stubborn, burnt pot residue happening inside your blood vessels actually has a scientific name. It's called AGEs, or Advanced Glycation End-products. These are formed when we consume way too much sugar and refined carbohydrates, literally leaving our blood vessels in a charred, blackened state from the inside. And here's a pretty shocking reality check for you. Medical professionals are now warning that sugar toxicity is actually a bigger driver of arteriosclerosis, which is the dangerous hardening of your arteries, than smoking cigarettes. Yeah, let that sink in. The numbers back this up in a pretty terrifying way, actually. A massive study out of a Dutch university looked at 70,000 people to see exactly what high AGE levels do to the human body. They found that individuals with high levels of these AGEs have a 3 times higher risk of developing diabetes and heart disease. And even worse, their overall risk of mortality is a staggering 5 times higher. So we're not just talking about wrinkles or cosmetic aging here. This is fundamentally about our lifespan. Section 2. The cellular crime scene. Let's look at the microscopic breakdown. Let's put our medical detective hats on for a second, zoom into the microscopic level, and uncover exactly how this biological crime scene unfolds inside our bodies right after we eat. It all comes down to some fascinating chemistry. Think of it like 2 spaceships docking in orbit. Step 1. You eat carbohydrates, and your natural body heat actually alters the structure of the glucose into a highly reactive state called an aldehyde. Step 2. This highly reactive aldehyde encounters amino acids just floating around in your body. Step 3. They literally crush into each other and physically lock together right in the middle, dropping a water molecule, H2O, in the process. And step 4. The docking is permanently complete, and those dangerous aging AGEs are officially formed. Now, ironically, this precise biological process is actually a super famous culinary reaction. It's known as the Maillard reaction. When amino acids and sugars meet heat, they create this brown substance called melanoidin. That is the exact chemical responsible for the delicious brown crust and those mouth-watering scents of roasted foods. It's what gives us the scent of chocolate, baked cheese, caramel, and fresh-baked bread. The crazy part: the very reaction that makes our food smell and taste incredibly delicious is the exact same reaction causing cellular aging when it happens inside us. Section 3. Falsely accused suspects. Let's talk about safe roasted foods. Now, what's really interesting to see here is that before you completely panic and throw away everything in your kitchen that has a brown crust, we need to look at a few falsely accused suspects. You would naturally think that highly roasted coffee beans or a deeply seared steak would be absolutely packed with AGEs. And they are, but they are surprisingly safe. Why? Well, because coffee and chocolate contain incredibly powerful antioxidants that entirely outweigh the AGE risks. And as for meat, the AGE molecules it creates are massive. They're so structurally large, in fact, that our bodies barely even absorb them. So these suspects completely falsely accused. So the crucial point is Section 4, unmasking the true culprits, the real dietary villains. If seared meat and roasted coffee aren't our primary enemies, what is? Well, here is your lineup of the real aging culprits. We're looking at the 5 refined white carbohydrates: white rice, bread, noodles, refined flour, and sugar. When these enter your body heat acts like an oven, essentially cooking them into AGEs. But pay very, very close attention to that last point on the list, peeled fruit. While a fruit's peel holds antioxidants, eating just the fleshy inside means you are consuming pure fructose. And fructose builds those deadly AGEs 10 times faster than regular glucose. No joke, 10 times faster. And this brilliantly illustrates the true danger of our cooking methods when we just compare potatoes. A standard boiled potato has a relatively small, totally manageable amount of AGs. But if you take that exact same potato and deep fry it in high heat to make French fries, the AG levels literally explode off the chart. They become 90 times larger. 90. This massive spike is due to the ultimate villain lurking in those fries, a substance called acrylamide. It is a highly dangerous, very specific type of AGE. It's born from the catastrophic combination of fructose-rich carbohydrates being cooked at extreme temperatures of 120 degrees Celsius or higher. When you combine those specific carbs with that high of heat, acrylamide is the toxic result. Interestingly, we are actually seeing some companies take responsibility for this chemistry. For example, the snack company Calbee is actively breeding low-fructose potato varieties and systematically reducing their frying temperatures and times to actively fight dangerous acrylamide formation. It's a really fascinating scientific effort to make snacks safer right at the source. And, impartial reporting here, this is a pretty stark contrast to some companies selling premium bottled water known to be tainted with nitrate nitrogen. It's just clear that some food manufacturers are actively utilizing this science to protect consumers, while others, well, not so much. Section 5, Fighting Back Against AGEs. Let's dig into some medical solutions. Let's see how all this builds into actionable medical solutions to block this aging process entirely. Look, simply having some AGs in your body is bad, but they only cause their catastrophic damage when they successfully bind to something called RAGE, the receptor for AGs. Think of RAGE as open doors, or specialized docking stations right on the surface of our cells. When the AGs attach here, they pull the trigger on some truly devastating cellular outcomes, essentially opening the floodgates for diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and even cancer. So, how do we block those cellular doors? Enter the medical hero of our explainer, metformin. As Dr. Nagumo highlights, this mild, everyday drug that's typically prescribed for diabetes is highly effective because it physically blocks AGEs from docking with those RAGE cellular receptors. By literally standing in the doorway and keeping the AGEs from attaching, metformin drastically reduces cardiovascular mortality and physically stops the aging damage right in its tracks. It's such a remarkable application of understanding this cellular mechanism. So, we've looked at the biology, the chemistry, and the culinary truths behind how our cells actually age. We've seen how the Maillard reaction works both in your kitchen and inside your veins. Knowing exactly how your body reacts to heat, sugars, and peeled fruits, what are you going to choose for your very next snack? I really hope this structured look empowers you to make a choice that keeps your cells healthy and young. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will catch you in the next explainer.